You're retro trekking with the caramel apples, an apple snack where the topic is really about apples. This week's deep dive is all about yet another focal point that's currently in the news. I'm Kennedy Rizzo.
And I'm Cooper Lee.
We have a lot to share. Now that we have your rapt attention, we have a lot to unpack, so meet us there, and we'll see you on the other side. Coop, as we stated at the outset of our deep dive topic, we're still just mere minutes into the new year, and the news feeds have so many unfortunate events transpire, in which we'd like to briefly peer into in regards to the raging Pacific Palisade fires. How very tragic this occurrence has been thus far.
Yeah, you know what? It certainly is, Kennedy. And as per usual, we have a lot to share. But before we launch into our discussion this week, we just wanted to remind you to hit that subscribe button and visit us on YouTube, Instagram, X, and TikTok. Also, check out our official website, RetroTrekwithTheCaramelApples.com, to see all the latest and greatest updates going down in the Retro Orchard. Okay, our discussion is set to be most eye-opening as well as most concerning.
Oh, for sure. We're going a little off-road today to discuss the still trending hot topic, pun intended, of how the devastating effects and impacts of the raging Pacific Palisade fires are. So, just about a week or so ago, the Hollywood stars and celebrities were doing their thing and getting the award season off to a strong start with the Golden Globe Awards, where all the celebrities come out showing off their finest, expensive designer fare. You got the red carpet coverage, the exclusive gift bags, on and on.
Yeah.
Then, Coop, just a day or so later, that area where the haves flaunt the access they have to the finer things in life, we're all now very well aware of the unfortunate consequences of the Santa Ana winds, what they can do to a vast area. Yeah, this fire is massive and most devastating. Multi-million-dollar homes just taken out one after the other. Fire doesn't have class distinctions or levels, and is an equal opportunity destroyer, as we're seeing play out.
Yeah, the pictures, videos, they're all just downright frightening.
Mm-hmm.
This is just how California is designed. They have plenty of water, but the constant dry air, the landscape, overpopulation, and noted areas, this is what will happen and continue to happen. Right after all the rain happens at any given time, the ground then is dry as a bone within a month. It's simply the climate of California and not designed to support the population building in arid areas. Never will be. It's sad to see such a beautiful place ravaged by, this devastating fire.
Yeah, and that's it. This is their rainy season, but it's so dry. That's what everybody keeps saying. When updates come, and as we know now, like these fires are pretty fatal. I think the count's up to, is it 26 people maybe?
I the last I knew it was in the high teens, so I wouldn't doubt that.
Okay, that's sad in itself. Like animals, pets.
Yep.
You don't want to hear of anybody losing their lives or whatever. It's devastating enough to lose your homes or whatever. And like, seriously, like you said, Coop, the videos and the pictures of the devastation is so frightening. It literally looks dystopian.
It does.
Yeah.
Like a Hollywood set wouldn't compare to that. Like it's just been nailed in real life.
Yeah, and I think part of the problem right now, people are, of course, they make everything political, and that just gets redundant. It gets old real fast. It's like, where's humanity? People are losing things. They need to come together and help, I guess. But it's sad because you can, like, this is one more thing. We think, we live in an area where we get tornadoes and storms. We get snowstorms around the Gulf Coast and then around the coastal areas. They have the threat of hurricanes and other kind of trouble like that. So it doesn't matter where you go, there's always a threat of some kind of natural disaster coming at you.
Sure. Yeah.
But fire's scary. That's one of the things I'm very afraid of. So, like,
I know you are. Yeah.
and the way they describe these Santa Ana winds, they're no joke. I think that I've heard people say, yeah, those things are like strong, like up to 90, 100 miles per hour winds, and they're dry and hot.
Wow. Well, just that in itself. So if it's already dry and hot, that's like a perfect catalyst for fire, sounds like.
Yeah, and that's part of the thing too. People were saying, "Oh yeah, maybe it's arson." Is there firebugs out there? Like, because there's just some weirdos out there. They're always jumping in on a situation to be difficult. I don't know. So I mean, we do. I think they're still investigating, but the fires are still, depending on the winds, they still rage on. And the
Yeah.
swath of destruction, because it's so vast out there. If you look, and that's one of the nice things about LA. When you go out there, it's just like it goes on and on and on. It's endless, like the valleys and stuff.
Yeah, it's quite sprawled out, and I think it's the second largest city here stateside.
Is it?
I believe so.
That's the largest.
I'm gonna take a stab at it and say New York City. That would be
Oh,
my guess, but
lovely.
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. Yeah, but theirs is not. It goes upward because there's a lot of buildings in New York,
Right, right.
but yeah, these fires. So, they're trying to figure out like what happened. And here, get this. This is crazy. So we're talking about the stars and the celebrities. This is crazy because we just talked about how they had that Sunday the Golden Globe Awards. You know,
Right.
that's
Yes.
the accelerator pedal on the big award season. So, we're getting going. Everybody's getting all charged up and happy about that. And
Yeah.
literally a day later, this is what the news is. So it's like nobody's even talking about the Golden Globes. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
people's homes. And I mean, what's the thing? Like the celebrities, they have come out in full force, on social media and, talking about, oh, we've lost everything. We lost our houses. And I think
Hmm.
like Jamie Lee Curtis, I heard her name come up, Halle Berry, Mel Gibson, um,
Okay.
Billy Crystal. So we're sad for these people. I mean, there's probably a lot of memories and stuff they had in their homes that, is devastating, devastating loss. But, you know, however it plays out, I mean, they still seem to have a little money in the bank. I mean, they might be able to rebuild or just make other arrangements. But the sad part about this is the common Joe and Jane Schmo that are just trying to survive in the same swath of destruction.
Yeah. And with that being said, I've heard that there's people who, because the age of their home, it was already hard to get insurance. Some people do not have insurance.
Oh no.
So if they've lost their home and, just because of the situation being as it is, what do they do?
Yeah.
Like I would imagine probably, most people have some sort of insurance, but if they couldn't even get it, I mean, what is it? I don't know what a person like that does. Where do they go from here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, where even the stars, they're doing a lot of crying about, losing stuff and oh my goodness, thoughts and prayers. Please give us thoughts and prayers. Okay.
Yeah.
But and they don't deserve any less than that. But I mean like the ones that really are the 9 to 5ers, the ones that are raising kids or working a couple jobs, you think about, like you said, just that you described, you feel sorry for these ones because it's like, it's one more thing looming over their head that how are we going to get through this?
Yeah. Yeah. And they're probably like, did not see that coming, because I believe this is the biggest actual fire they've ever had
Mm-hmm.
in the LA area. We have family out in California, and we've actually had family members who lived in this area. They don't live there now, but they did. So this is kind of heart wrenching for them because they were out there for a long time,
Yeah.
a very long time. So they've got so many memories wrapped up in this, and they knew people out there. They still know people out there.
Mm-hmm.
So the devastation was far reaching. And like you said, just the person who their life was already just a little too hard. now they've got this. Like, you talk about over the edge. Wow.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's so sad.
Yeah, and we're just minutes into the new year. I mean, it's like it just
Hmm.
got started and it's already, pounding hard on some of the devastation and difficulties of what can
Yeah.
come.
Well, even the fact, like you had mentioned about, the award season had already gotten started, and this is typically the time, like you said, we're rolling into more of that, the big dogs coming up. I haven't heard anything, and usually right after you hear, you know, remnants or whatever about the Golden Globes, then they immediately start talking about the heavy hitters coming up for the big dog.
Mm-hmm.
So I have not heard a whisper, which would be, I think, in very poor taste if they did literally right now. Like, what? So I'm glad to not have heard anything
Yeah.
because that is not important right now. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they can get done because I think they are also saying that this week they're looking that it's going to be bad again or could be way worse than what they've already experienced.
Wow.
And I know just from some shots seeing on TV, you can almost feel the fire, right? And I know that's probably like that doesn't even begin to compare to what these poor families are dealing with. But I mean, you can almost feel it. That's how hot it looks. But some of those aerial shots look like lava because it was all dark except for the red streams that you could see. And it was like, it was fire because that's what they're reporting on. But you're like, that is so, the way it just looked like it was streaming. It looked like it was burning lava. It's like, oh
Mm.
my God,
Mm.
it's nuts.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I think, Coop, I read somewhere that the home prices in Palisades, California average about $3.5 million.
Okay. Okay.
Um, Homes are built super close together out there. I mean, they're still in the hills and stuff, but there are lots of trees in the neighborhoods, and they're built right next to the mountains that are filled with dry combustible biomass fuel and oil-rich sagebrush. So right here, this is terrible planning and a perfect storm for this type of disaster as well.
Yeah.
We keep hearing that it's global warming, blah, 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 but human error might be more to blame. Like we were talking a little bit ago about arsonists. Who knows?
Yeah. These hills and canyons are not good to build in every year. Something like this, it happens. So, to some extent, which is wise. A lot of insurance companies, they pull out of wanting to cover disasters in these type of areas. As we've mentioned, some people don't even have insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's been some reporting, like I believe like a lot of the homes like in Malibu, like Malibu always seemed like, I don't know, it was depicted in movies all the time.
Yeah.
And it always had that look. You knew the area they were in, and I think the majority of homes or whatever, especially that were along that coastline, may be gone.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like it's a beautiful area. We've been to LA, a few times, and it is a beautiful area. And it's just hard to imagine how it will ever get back to that. Like, I mean, people are like, we're going to rebuild, whether we have insurance or not. They're trying to have that grit, but it will take, I don't even know, decades? I don't even know. How do you even begin to do that? And again, with the insurance companies, it still probably depends on how much insurance you had, even if you could get it, how much insurance you particularly had on your property. As you said, 3.5 mil. You hopefully have some good insurance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully.
I don't know. This is just a travesty. It's just hard to imagine and believe that, this. I mean, this is definitely like, not too long ago we were talking about the CEO being shot in New York City and because of the shady practices that insurance doles out to unsuspecting patients that need their help. I mean,
Yeah.
now that this is all we hear is about the Palisade fires, and um,
Yeah.
I don't know. We just started the year, and it's like stuff's already rocking and rolling. It's just like, oh my goodness, it's already exhausting. I mean, you feel bad for the people, but the media gets a hold of something, and they just go on and on and on about everything.
They really do. That 24/7 access.
Yeah,
You really are up to them. Like, you'll see a story and it's like posted 18 minutes ago, and you're like, okay.
yeah,
And that's in general, right? So when it's like this, it really does come in because everybody wants to be the first to report on new parts of it, of the story.
yeah.
So yeah, it's constantly coming in, and then sadly, like you said, it becomes fodder for other people to start talking about, for their agendas and things like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, well, that's not what this is about, but you know, there's always the spin that comes in. So
Man, I just hope that they can get over this hump because I mean, this is like you said, this is a big deal. This isn't something that's going to be able to the pieces being picked up overnight. Like this is going to be a long haul for some of these poor families and these poor people. But
yeah, I mean, schools are gone,
yeah,
so I know they were evacuating people from, like, I'm not sure. I don't remember hearing about hospitals, but from like nursing retirement homes and nursing facilities, things like that. It's like, well, where do those people go?
hmm,
They're in serious need. They can't be away from the stuff that they rely on moment by moment. They need things.
yeah,
The older population that are in these facilities. So it's like, where do you just rush them off to?
hmm,
Especially when you're running from one direction, heading in another, and you still don't know how far that fire is going to reach. So even if you set up a camp here, it's like, well, who's to say it doesn't reach that?
right,
And you're moving again. So it's like, how far out do you go to hopefully be in a safe area that you don't have to keep picking up and moving and evacuating constantly?
yeah,
Very unsettling.
yeah, yeah. All those poor people. I feel so
I
bad
know.
for them, Coop.
I know.
Um,
I know.
I mean, you just think about the devastation of somebody, if they lost their house, like it's in their scope. Oh, okay, our house burnt down. That's pretty devastating too.
Yeah.
But this is like the whole area, like your town. You said it's schools, grocery stores, hospitals, nursing facilities. And I mean, like it's just a bunch of black char everywhere. Like cars are burnt out.
Yeah.
And then to see the palm trees sticking up over the destruction with the gray skies and everything looks very dystopian. It's very creepy.
Yeah. And only to, get worse, sadly, because this obviously hasn't seen its end yet.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
we'll be staying tuned. They'll keep us up to date with the latest on what's going on. And sadly, it's not going to be good.
Well,
Not gonna be
we'll
good.
just keep our antennas up. Like you said, there'll be updates. They're doing them now, but we're sorry about the loss of life and the devastation, the scars, the mental and emotional scars of seeing what once was just gone with the snap of a finger. And it does not matter how rich you are, your name, any of that. Like devastation happens, it's coming.
Right. And the fact that it is so widespread right now, like, you could have an event take place in your own personal family or something like that, and maybe neighbors come to your aid or friends can come to your aid. But when, like, entire neighborhoods, it's like it, someone who might have been able to come over and give you some consolation, they're also dealing with something. So, like, these whole communities are all devastated. Like, they're at their wits' end as far as how to comfort each other.
Yeah.
They're all going through it. Like, they're all feeling this. Children, like you said, it doesn't matter how much money you have, age. Like, this is just completely next level for these poor people.
Yeah. It is. It is. Well, we wanted to just kind of briefly touch on it since that is kind of hot in the news feeds, but we're definitely keeping our antenna up on that. Hopefully they'll be able to make some sense of what the devastation has brought to their their doorstep
Yeah.
currently. So we're hoping to hear some decent news and thoughts of rebuilding, or the insurance actually stepping up and doing what they were paid to do or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully these poor people will get to feel a little bit of relief here soon.
And that's it for this week's Orchard Trek Retro. To make sure that you never miss out on another second of our Caramelicious podcast, meet up with us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcast fix. Bye for now, and thanks so much for listening.